Hello folks, this is Paragon RG, and you are watching another daily casted match of Age of Empires 4. This one should be interesting. Normally, I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't call a Mongol mirror match interesting. However, we are very early on a new patch. Mongols have been changed in certain important ways, and I would like to see how people are playing them. So, in the to northwest side of the map is Leenock, a very famous StarCraft 2 player, but $300,000 in career earnings. Very, very talented. In the blue. And in the red, the bottom right of the map, southeast, I guess, is Capoch, who is an Age of Empires 2 player, a classic one. He was around in the early 2000s when the game had originally had a tournament scene before it sort of died down and then ended up resurging a while later. So, yeah, we'll have to see what these players get up to. So, for those that don't know, first of all, this map is steppes. It's not one I'm too familiar with. Actually, it said it's steppes. It's Ancient Spires, my mistake. I looked at the subheading rather than the heading. So, Ancient Spires, you see all the little lakes around the map with, of course, these spires, which could, in theory, be walled to, though, of course, neither player can wall in this game. Now, Leenock builds a dock up front. Capoch was tried to get there early enough to prevent that dock. He's going to do as much damage as he can to this villager, but will not likely kill it before it gets home to safety. Let's take a look at the cons. So both players looking like they're trying to be pretty annoying with their cons. Capoch's dock going over back here. Meanwhile, his OVO is over here. I was going to say most villagers on wood. There's actually 4 of them on sheep here as well. So, pretty soon you'll get a fishing economy up. Only 1 deep sea fish here, but 1 is definitely better than none. Really not a very good pond at all. So he's probably going to have to find another one partway through this map. Okay, interesting. Meanwhile, Leenock is on this larger pond that has more total fish, but no deep sea fish. So these are all shore fish. You can see there's no symbol on the minimap. It only tells you where the deep sea fish are, as they are the larger patches, and they actually collect fish more quickly. You'll see that going up. That speed compared to this, definitely slower. So you want deep sea fish for sure, but this map is looking pretty light on deep sea fish in general. I only see 1 here and 1 here, so I wouldn't be surprised if Leenock eventually makes his way in this direction. So Mongols now start with 50 less wood than they did before. There's an initial mistake in the patch notes. I think they said minus 50 wood, meaning 50 less, but it made it look like they actually started with negative 50 wood. Of course, that not being true. Now, I don't know how much that'll affect things in a mirror match, since both players will be delayed in the same fashion. The other thing that's been changed is their outposts no longer cost 70 wood. They now cost 100 wood. And I think this can affect things in a mirror match, simply because outposts are just that much less viable. If one player wants to be aggressive with outposts, whether it's a mirror match or not, as the Mongols, you need to make sure now that you are actually doing damage, because that extra 30 wood adds up for each tower you put up. And often it's a few towers that get placed. So you could imagine, 90 wood is not a small thing when you're also trying to get to the feudal age. You're trying to add spearmen, things like that, to fight off your opponent. So on Leenock's side here, we have 6 fishing ships. Only 5 over here. Looks like Capoch is a little behind in terms of his fishing ship production. I'm wondering if either player is closer to... Looks like Leenock is actually quite a bit closer to feudal age as well. So I'm kind of wondering is something going wrong in Capoch's build? Something we don't know about. Another possibility, I actually think Capoch may have added this earlier. I didn't see this OVO from Leenock until later. And actually, if we check 1325 stone in there, 1054. So this thing has been active for a few minutes longer, in fact. So that's where I think probably a bunch of the wood went. And Capoch has probably spent, looks like, yeah, so quite a few double spearmen coming out from him, and not so from Leenock. So we're already seeing some significant deviation in how they're playing. Leenock has clicked up to the Feudal Age and is going up with the Deerstones. No real surprise there. I'm interested to see... You could imagine one of the players deciding that the Silver Tree made sense if they had map control, but, you know, seems pretty darn risky. I'm not sure how you would justify it. So 2 more spearmen coming out now from Capoch. He's quite determined to take out this dock. It's currently looking like he will succeed in doing so. The Khan will do double the damage very shortly. You'll see that jump up to 4 as soon as they hit Feudal Age. But even more spearmen coming in now. If he's not paying attention, looks like he is. But with... You've got to figure with this many spearmen now. Let's pop over to Capoch here. With 9 spearmen, this thing is not long for the world now. And here it goes. It goes down. As I stumble over my words. These 9 fishing ships will not have a dock to drop off at. So this is a really nice pickup for Capoch. He is full on the aggressive. He has also clicked up to the Feudal Age with the Deerstone. So I personally feel like he is ahead. He used this. He got this stone earlier. He used it to his advantage. And he is now hunting. He's going for this Ovo. This is really interesting. He knows this is a big part of the value that a Mongol player gets. And it looks like he wants to get on top of this thing. An easy way he can get an advantage is he has an Ovo and his opponent does not. This looks like it's going down. I don't see what could stop it. 1 archer won't do it. 2 more archers won't do it. And not using the stone. Leenock maybe being... I don't know if I should say greedy or conservative. Ooh, you want to be taking down that Ovo. You don't want to chase the archers too far, because there will only be more and more archers. But yeah, I wonder if he's being greedy or conservative. What is he saving this stone for that is so important that he can't make extra archers now? I mean, you can imagine if 2 archers popped out right away instead of 1, they do a better job at sniping these units. And I was going to say, he's actually trying to repair this thing, but Capoch did not leave enough hit points on it as it burned down. So remember that when a building has 1/4 of its hit points remaining, it burns, it slowly burns, it loses hit points over time. Of course, eventually to its destruction. Unlike in AoE 2, when we see you basically slice farms with a sword, they light on fire, and they stay on fire for the rest of the game because you have no reason to repair them. Archers now coming out, double archer production, in fact, from Capoch. He's running it right to the edge with his stone. So really interesting here. Now trying to take out a dock again. I mean, he's doing real damage. Also, something to keep in mind, I didn't have in my head for a bit there, is that every building he burns. Ooh, is this yeah, this is gonna be a military ship. This will probably put a stop to this aggression. But every building he burns, he gets resources for. So he would have got for burning this 50 gold and 50 food, right? And then he would have got the same for the first time around on this dock. So that's actually a gain of 200 resources. Meanwhile, his opponent had to rebuild those twice, which is a loss in 300 resources. Really, really nasty. Just wanted a quick check on the Ovo. 150 wood, yes. Okay, so some battle being met there. It looks like an outpost was trying to be placed by Capoch. Missed that one. He did bring his Deerstones forward as well. This is pretty clever. Means you don't need a villager constructing outposts. You can bring this thing around, and then your troops up here will gain speed bonuses, which helps, right? I mean, that'll help your spearmen get away from archers. It'll help in a real way. Leenock is almost up to the castle age, so if we feel like he's playing conservatively in terms of his regular resources, that makes sense to me, but I'm still confused as to why he has 500 stone in the bank. There's got to be some plan there that I'm not understanding. Now, that being said, Capoch is clicked up as well. Here it is. He is going up with the step readout. So, okay, holy moly. Yeah, Leenock wants to get this done. 20 villagers on that. So that will not take long at all, but Capoch still beats him to the punch. So what is he going to do in the Castle Age? Really interesting. I'm sure he wants to take out this dock. That being said, the longer he waits, the more this thing gets fished out and is not useful anyway. Look at this migration over here. 2 stables going to pack up near the Ovo. So looks like this is what Leenock is up to. We're going to see double Lancer production out of his stables. Needs to unpack this one as well. Not double? Yeah, there it goes. Double Lancer. He started with the regular production before changing it to double. Now, Capoch does have spears, but he's probably about to lose all these spears. And Leenock knows he doesn't actually have to kill these archers. He just needs to kill a bunch of the spears, and then his double Lancers will show up and pretty much save the day. The question is, what is Capoch doing on the other hand? 10 fishing ships in here for Capoch total. I didn't notice he is on this dock as well. Of course, no deep sea fish there. What do we see Capoch doing? Looks like he's saving up resources, but I don't know if that's his intent. Currently double men-at-arms production, as well as the veteran archer upgrade. Lancers coming in. So currently just trying to stay on the aggressive. Looks like he may... Nope, doesn't quite take out his opponent's con, and he will lose archers for it. So Lancers will beat down archers, no doubt about it. Not much they'll be able to do about that. Look at the speed of these things, though, because of the presence of the deer stones there. Lancer from Capoch now forward, trying to burn down this Dao, but not really going to have much success with that. I think the Dao does a little bit too much. Light junk, actually, sorry, it's not a Dao. Dao is the for the Delhi and the Abbasid dynasty. Men-at-arms coming in now, starting to outnumber Leenock in this area, but this game has really evened out nicely. I'm no longer sure. There was a little while where it just felt like Capoch was ahead in every way. Looks like another town center going up for Capoch. That's interesting. Very interesting. So let's see if he starts producing the... Shouldn't say double produce because that usually means refers to the stone production, but hopefully we'll see him adding villagers out of both town centers very quickly. But it doesn't look like he's added it to his control group just yet, so no extra villager production coming out of that town center. Which is a bit of a shame. That could definitely be a significant economic boost for him in the long run. There we go. We now see them, so he has caught on that front. Is producing more villagers than his opponent. Let's take a quick look at that. So 59 against 53 for Leenock. That's villager count. 16 military versus 11. So it does appear that Capoch is in the lead. Now, it's a little hard to tell if that lead is real or just apparent. Like, is it spearmen that are making up the difference in numbers? Because if it is, yes, they're good against cavalry, but they are just cheaper units. You know, they're 80 instead of 240 in terms of total resource cost. So, you know, it would make sense if you had if they had twice as many spearmen as you had units, but you had all lancers. You might be okay with that, right? You run around, you harass, and you're still in the lead. Deerstone's kind of acting as a bit of a scout right now. Leenock shooting at it briefly before moving on. He's looking to do as much damage as he can, starting to flank with these lancers. More units coming forward for Capoch, and I'm starting to see crossbows. What else do we see? So 3 crossbows. There's the Khan. 6 spears, 4 lancers. Quite the mix of troops for him. Outpost does not have any upgrades as far as I can tell. Leenock's lancers now pushing in at Capoch, but Capoch is right on it. Leenock pulls away right away. Not a huge chance to get much damage in here. As I go to cinematic mode for nothing cinematic. Does take out this Lancer of Capoch's. So battle is met here. I don't think this is going to be an effective battle for Leenock. Like, even if he's... You know what? Those spears combined with the crossbows, this is such a hard counter to what he has. Even if he could take out the spears, just with the quality and number of his units, I don't think it would really be worth it. So Leenock retreats to fight another day. His Khan has been killed as well. Lancers on the front of his base. Looks like he's already lost one. Look at that. Look at this micromanagement. Capoch running one away. Hopefully to heal. Don't know if he has a prayer tent in order to make monks. I still see 5 relics on the map, so I'm pretty doubtful of that. Prayer tent actually being made now, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's like, you know what, why don't I start on this journey, start healing the knight, start making monks, shamans rather, and start picking up relics, go from there. So I think Capoch is feeling pretty comfortable here. His army isn't a death ball, but it is something that Leenock is going to have a hard time dealing with. And he has a second town center. So as I follow units here, we have 56 economy for Leenock, 74 now for Capoch. So 18 ahead with a larger total military as well. So even if that military ends up being of the same value, oh, they can run through the trees. There's a hole here now. But Capoch has been on it. I have to say, I'm really impressed with his overall reaction time this game. Even just pulling that one Lancer away really shows he's on the ball here. All these spearmen coming in. You're not going to get many villager kills when there are this many veteran spears in your face. Crossbows as well. So if they do, the Lancers do end up getting sort of bogged down. Crossbows will make pretty quick work of them. You can see they do 13 damage plus 9 versus heavy. So 21 damage per shot against these Lancers. So Gur looks like needs to be set up here for these berries. Deerstones moving forward for Leenock. Looks like Leenock is hoping to get on the aggressive step readout. Moving toward the gold here. It can be super annoying to unpack these things, especially when all your villagers finish what they're doing and move in your way. Sometimes I like to grab them. If I want to go here, you say like click and then shift click this. And then that way this thing gets a chance to unpack before... Oh, that's so annoying. There he goes. Finally gets it up. So she said... Okay, so the Lancers of Leenock are now on the Deerstones of Capoch. He may have to run away with those, although they are often not long for the world once they start running. They are slower now than they used to be. Lancers of Capoch running away as well. This thing looks odd, doesn't it? It stacks so high, it reminds me of a tank or something like that. Like a World War I era tank. Alright, so new Ovo comes down from Capoch, sorry about that. Has a good number of troops back here. So it looks like he's okay to sort of run about toward the front. He knows that his army can't really be dealt with at this stage by Leenock. That being said, he does have to make a move. I mean, Leenock has a ton of Lancers and can keep raiding. And, you know, only 10 villagers are going to fit in this town center, and there's 20 of them here. So you can imagine jumping on this with Lancers, killing 10 villagers and moving on. Maybe you lose a Lancer or two. Fine. Not the end of the world. Army of Capoch parked over here now. Hanging out by the sacred site. Let's take a look. Prayer tent does have a relic now, so he's out collecting them. Looks like maybe a shaman is here. Continuing to do his preferred god's work. The Deerstones of Capoch were eventually taken out, so this will have to be repaired by villagers at some point. I don't know how much of a hurry Capoch is to do that. I feel like he thinks he has a pretty solid grasp on this game. Looks like Leenock will try to pull this one away, but unless he can pull his opponent's army away, I think that one may go down as well. And you know what? Leenock just calls it. He knows he's way too far behind in this game. He knows his opponent has a villager lead. He can't deal with the army of Capoch. So Capoch takes it against Leenock. Mongol mirror match on, not steps. What was the map? What was the map? Ancient Spires. That's the map. Folks, this has been Paragon RG. Thank you for joining me. Hope you enjoyed this one. Stay tuned, and I will catch you next time.